This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
All right, good morning. It's Monday. Welcome to the brand new work week. Welcome to a new week of First Alert Weather Breakdowns. Here at the weather broadcast here at KSLA News 12, want to just go right straight into the weather, shall we? Live look outside, Winter World Sky Camera in Texarkana. It's cloudy, but not a rainy day. So at least we got something going for us here today. There's not going to be too much sunshine in for the afternoon either. Maybe a few peaks in for today. But what I will say is the cloud cover is going to be our best friend, especially when it comes to keeping the temperatures cooler in for the day today. That'll be nice. But yeah, this is almost the picture pretty much everywhere across the Arctic. There is a slight chance of wet weather here actually later on today, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. Let me get a little ahead of myself here. Let me introduce myself. Hello. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomas, and I hope you're having a good, Monday morning so far. Man, I had a energy drink this morning. I still have it off to the side over there, and I need it. It's one of those mornings where I have a case of the Monday blues. I think it's a little bit of the cloud cover outside, yeah. I'm personally looking forward to the cooler temperatures along with this cloud deck, because overall, today is the coolest day of the entire work week. So maybe make the most of it, even though we do have a slight chance of wet weather here for today. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But yeah, sun's going to be coming back out here, and it's going to be heating up here for the rest of this work week. Yeah. Hope you had a great weekend, though. It was fantastic weather around here for the most part. Rocking pretty solid. All right, let's get straight into the docket here for today, what we got on our agenda. We're talking about the local cloudy forecast. Again, cloudy but not rainy. We do have a chance of rain, yes, but it's fairly low at 20%. We'll go into the specifics of where we're expecting it and what exactly defines our quote-unquote 20% chance of rain here for today. We'll have a first alert look at your tropics here for exclusive content here for today. We do that. Take a look at that once every week for pretty much peak of the season. We're going to be doing this again pretty much for the next month, pretty much up until early October, and then I'll probably do it pretty sparingly as the season goes all the way into the beginning of November. Yeah, still a long ways away to go here to get through the rest of the season, and it's still looking like an active season, period. And lastly, we got a preview of Tuesday's episode. For those of you who've been here, you know what Tuesday's all about. It's about that Tuesday here again this week. CJ's Tuesday, his TikTok Tuesday. He'll go over one coming up tomorrow. He didn't get a chance yesterday because of the last week we're all about Francine, which we'll actually be talking about in this local forecast, believe it or not. Yeah, Francine's still making an impact, actually, with some of our rain showers. Even though it's long gone, its remnants are part of what's giving us rain here for today. I'll get to the explanation of that in just a minute. That's part of the First Alert Weather Breakdown. We break down more of the forecast here. It's basically a long main weather segment for those of you who are just coming on new, so to speak. Last thing I want to mention before I get into the local forecast, if you have any questions during any of this entirely, join us on YouTube. We live stream on YouTube now, and one of the best things about using YouTube is you can type your comments, and I can see them over there. Looking at the chat directly right now, no chat so far, but you can log on to YouTube. Go to KSLA News 12. It'll show that we're live right now, and you can type whatever questions you have about anything, about the exclusive content for the day, about any future segments going on, about the tropics for today's exclusive content, about the forecast at all, whatever. That is my way to look at you guys live and say, hey, this is what you want me to talk about, so I would love to talk about it with you. All right. So let's get straight into the forecast, shall we? Another look at the Texarkana camera as I'm finishing setting things up. Again, a cloudy day, but not too rainy. That's the overall goal here for the day today. And if you want to look at forward to the temperatures, they are going to be on the cool side of things here this afternoon. I mean, temperatures are still hanging around in the lower 70s here for the most part across the region. 78 in Texarkana. Besides that, temperatures are mainly chilling out in the lower 70s here at 10:30 in the morning, which is still pretty good. honestly, all things considered. It's just a slow, gradual warm-up, really, through the rest of this morning and afternoon, to where we have highs expected only in the low to mid-80s. We'll talk about that a little more in just a moment. Here's first alert Doppler radar. You can see locally, again, nothing here. Nothing's expected here for the rest of the morning, all the way into lunchtime. That's not really what I'm expecting. This is what I'm afraid of is coming into the Arklatex. This is in eastern Arkansas right now. You can also see it's starting to rotate westward, and eventually it's going to rotate a little southward too. And here's why. That low pressure system that you can't see right now because my face is blocking it. There we go. Low pressure system on the southern end of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. That is the remnants of Francine. That is what used to be the core of Francine. Now, obviously, when we left this over the weekend, it was mainly up by Memphis, essentially. Western Tennessee and eastern Arkansas. That is the core of the system has moved down south, but it still has a good northerly border with just a little bit of some rain showers. Again, continuing up into eastern Arkansas and northern Mississippi at this rate. But it's rotating counterclockwise around this low pressure system. And when you see with that blue jet stream right there, that's pinpointing all of those showers right into the Arklatex for later on this afternoon. So we'll get into the future track in just a moment. But not only, I will say, are we dealing with the rain showers here for this afternoon, but you're going to have to watch out for cooler temperatures here for this afternoon, too. Not only are we hanging around with cloud cover that's going to block out the heat from the sun, we're also getting a nice, cooler, northerly breeze working in here. So temperatures are only at 85 this afternoon for Texarkana, 83 in for Spring Hill. Oh, man. That deserves another swing of coffee in the commercial break. 83 in Broken Bow and Foreman, 82 in DeQueen. In eastern Texas, 85 degrees. In center, 86 for Mount Pleasant, and 85 for Shreveport. In northwest Louisiana, got 86 for Natchitoches, and 84 in Montgomery, 84 also for Winfield this afternoon. So those are the highest temperatures. As for the future track, let's go over it, shall we? A little bit more slowly in our future track here. So playing this hour by hour, maybe storms will start to maybe pop up here around 2-3 p.m. There you see just a little bit of some tiny popcorn storms that could form into pretty much anywhere in the Arklatex here this afternoon. But you see the size of them, they're tiny. Yes, they could provide some heavy rainfall, but they're tiny in size and they're scarce as well. They're not too much grouped up to where I'm not even going to say it's isolated or scattered really whatsoever. I think you get the point. It's just tiny popcorn storms here for the rest of this afternoon. Just a brief pop-up shower or two. The same chance is possible here for tomorrow, very briefly. Tomorrow's chance is honestly worse than today. Today's is like a 20% chance of rain. Tomorrow's is like a 10, maybe 5 even. And then Wednesday, it looks like we're completely drying out by that day for beautiful conditions, honestly, for the rest of the work week. Yeah. So high temperatures again for this afternoon, mid-80s. All that with mostly cloudy skies. Maybe some partly cloudy conditions peeking in for the late afternoon. But especially for the next couple of hours, it's going to be cloudy all the way up until the afternoon. Here's a peek at that 7-day forecast. 85 here today. Haven't talked too much about the temperatures beyond today. Again, with that sun coming out again by Wednesday and Thursday, look at the temperatures going up. This is the coolest day of the work week. Highs are up to the mid-90s here by Thursday, increasing by a solid 10 degrees in a matter of 3 days. So make sure you enjoy the cooler temperatures before they get back into the 90s. We do have a slight cool down in store for next week and then back into the lower 90s. That could potentially come with a little cold front. There's been some long-term models hinting at maybe some rain with a little cool down into the 80s heading into Monday of next week, but obviously that's way long-term. That's 7-8 days out. Overall, we're dry, we're sunny, we're humid, and we're hot. Yeah. So summer still hanging on to the Arklatex. Thankfully, it looks like it's below heat advisory level territory still for Thursday and Friday, but so keep your first alert in the time ahead as heat still overall ain't gonna let up around here. So that's a look at your local forecast. Again, let me know if you have any questions on YouTube about any of that, and I can address it if it's something I didn't address or forgot about, or if you want me to talk about a specific town. Again, the beauty of YouTube. anyways, coming up next, we're going to talk about the tropics. Nothing is local here in the Gulf, but there's a lot of action happening as of right now in the Atlantic Ocean, including a storm that's hitting the East Coast currently. We'll talk about everything you need to know about the tropics coming up after this. And welcome back to KSLA News 12, First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomas. And so each and every week we go over the tropics, mainly because it's peak season. And it's supposed to be a above average tropical season. Also, I don't want anything like Burl to come back in here. Francine, thankfully, was off to our east, so I wouldn't say got lucky with that. It's still a day and a half of rain around here. But it was nothing crazy, especially in severe weather terms around here from Francine that happened last week. And thankfully, after Francine's been gone, it's been nice and quiet around here. But it's not quiet everywhere, so to speak. Yeah. In North Carolina, they're undergoing lots of heavy rain from a system right now that we are going to talk about at the moment. All right, let me let you see the beauty of potential tropical cyclone 8. It is at 50 miles an hour. There it goes. I was wondering where that was actually in my head. In my head, I was like, this is missing something. And sure enough, there is the cloud cover, as you see there, from the tropical satellite, finally going into effect. Anyways, yeah, it's potential tropical cyclone 8. It has winds at 50 miles an hour. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, that's usually winds of a tropical storm, so why is it not a tropical system? Well, look at the structure of the storm itself. It certainly doesn't look like a tropical system much. It's very lopsided. Its core doesn't really have an eye wall around it whatsoever. It's lots of heavy rain right now just on the northern end of the system that is delivering some quite impressive amount of rainfall rates and thus flash flooding right on that southeastern North Carolina coastline. That's right by Wilmington as well. This is going to continue to slowly move up north. Notice its speed. It's moving at a slow 5 miles an hour. So with the rainfall potential, it's not looking good. It's hanging around 5 to 7 inches right in that southeast corner, which is right by Wilmington. I will say overall, the state as a whole, regardless, look at that. This encompasses almost the entire state of North Carolina, even some areas of Virginia picking up on 2 to 3 to as much as 5 inches of rain within mostly, I know it says next 7 days, but mostly the next 3 days overall. Yeah, that's not going to be fun. So if you have any family maybe in North Carolina or Virginia, make sure they're weather aware. Make sure they're weather aware if they aren't getting, rain already in this area. So that's happening with that. That kind of developed kind of silently over the weekend. It kind of went off the Florida coastline around Jacksonville and kind of just meandered up through Savannah and Charleston, that area just off the coastline, trying to form itself just a little bit into a tropical system. And sure enough, it's got a little bit of wind and a whole lot of rain with it. All right, so that's what's affecting the coastline there. Obviously here, just a slight chance of wet weather here for today and a little bit for tomorrow. But here's our other eye on the tropics. Again, that's the loop of the system in itself, continuing to almost keep most of that rain in place. Now, here's the look at the other system that's in the tropics. It's not too threatening, is it? Well, you would be correct. It's because it is Tropical Depression Gordon, and it's going to slowly move westward before taking a sharp northerly turn here for, I believe that's the end of the work week, yeah. So this slowly moves and meanders almost in place. Keep in mind, this is way out in the Atlantic Ocean. This was a tropical storm earlier today and has since downgraded to a tropical depression, I believe. If not, it might have downgraded overnight or from yesterday. So yeah, overall, this is still meandering. This is a slow-moving system before it's finally going to get yanked up northward. But that's not by the end of the week. Keep in mind that last little update there at the last little end of the forecast cones is Friday, 8 a.m. That's when I'll have tropical storm winds back, 45 miles an hour. But then again, it's turning northward and going into no man's land, essentially, which is good news for us. Keeps it as a fish storm, shouldn't impact any landfall whatsoever. Now, the thing is, beyond that, I mean, we're looking at nothing. So here's a look at the forecast models with this system. Again, first of all, visually, it doesn't look that threatening, so to speak, and you would be correct. And honestly, I'm glad it doesn't look that threatening. Again, all the spaghetti models have it turning northward, thankfully, along with the forecast cones. So that's good news there. Size of the system, we have nothing going on. But obviously, that first system, my thoughts and prayers are with those in North Carolina, giving all that amount of heavy rain, and especially such a short amount of time. And maybe not as much of a heads up as some people would like, again, because this formed kind of silently over the weekend and went into North Carolina. So I will say, thankfully for us, again, nothing's in the Gulf whatsoever. Just have that system affecting the East Coast, and Gordon is going to slowly meander on its last legs over the next 5 days and slowly limp around, quite literally, across no man's land in the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, the only other tropics thing that I have for you with this is that there is some little hints on long-term models that we could be looking at something forming in the Gulf next week. I'm not even sure if I wanted to say that, because technically National Hurricane Center isn't even saying anything like any area of interest. It's not even hitting it like one of those X marks, so to speak, that we have on a map. It doesn't have that yet, but heading into way later down the line, next week sometime, could be looking at a system in the Gulf. That's just from me looking at the models this morning. There's nothing to show for that visually, but we'll see what happens. Regardless, we're going to do this segment again next week, and we'll see if there is truly a system in the Gulf or not. Obviously, this is a good break because we spent 3 out of the 5 days last week on the podcast literally just talking about Francine, and that was it. So this is a good break. This is a good break. Again, a limping tropical depression and a system that is giving, again, lots of heavy rain in North Carolina, but overall it's done after the next day or two. So good news with that. All right, we'll wrap up this episode after one more message, and we look forward to tomorrow's episode with CJ. Dude's amazing. He really is. You stick around. If you have any questions, again, watch us on YouTube. We'll wrap up this episode after this. All right, welcome back, KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm going to be honest. I kind of mentioned this to start off this episode. I have a case of the Monday blues. Now, I remembered why I did as well. You know, sometimes Mondays you wake up outside and, well, something unlucky happens. Well, that was the case for me. I was on my way out the door. I needed extra perk on my way out the door. I did not get it. Personal news, I didn't get a good amount of sleep last night. So you needed a little, extra energy to get you going here this morning. So I had this energy drink, but look at the if it could clear. Oh, it's just, I know it's still a little blurry, but I think you get the point. The can is just slouched, and it's like right on the edge where you drink out of the cup. So it's like a weird, I don't know. I've drank out of it all morning long. It's the only reason I'm still awake. But it's just been a weird, I don't know how to describe it. Just a weird, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's just not comfortable for my mouth, I guess. I don't know. Not comfortable to drink. That's the best way to probably say it. Anyways, so yeah, that's where my Monday's blues are going, all from this cup. Oh, also how it became that way, it fell down 2 flights of stairs. That was not on purpose. Anyways, all right, let's wrap up this episode. If you want us to talk about something specific, anything weather-wise, anything and everything out of your imagination, guys, I am just one brain. You guys are several hundred, even a few thousand, occasionally that watch this, all right? First of all, I'm thankful for anybody who watches this at all, even if it's just 10, 20 people. I understand it's 10:30 during a weekday, but guess what? We have our episodes on the app as well. That's something we don't talk about too much. We have our episodes on the KSLA News 12. I believe it's just on the news app. I don't think it's on the weather map at all, or weather app at all. Yeah, it is. It's on the KSLA News 12 app. You click on that, you go to the First Alert Weather Breakdown, and you can watch every single episode back in its entirety, which is pretty cool, not gonna lie. So if you missed an episode, maybe you're doing some chores later at night and you want to somehow, some way hear my voice or just hear about what the weather is going on, and maybe more than the typical, again, 2-3 minute weather on a show. We talk about it for a solid 5-10 minutes instead here. If you want to hear more of a little more of a breakdown, so to speak, intense First Alert Weather Breakdown. Here on the forecast. So anyways, if you have any topics you want us to talk about, you can send us an email to send us an email to weatherbreakdown@ksla.com. You can also message any of the 4 of us on Facebook. Join us every single weekday. Our next episode is tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Oh gosh, this is gonna be a long week. Today's only Monday. But anyways, Tuesday, CJ always helps us to make it better. CJ will be on the podcast here for tomorrow. He'll give us a show at his TikTok. Again, he wasn't able to do that last week. We talked all about Francine, which was great and fantastic. We love the feedback from you guys and all the questions that you had for us. But tomorrow we'll just mainly be talking about his TikTok for the day. Again, he doesn't tell me what it's about. So not only do you get the suspense of not knowing, I get the suspense of having to react to it live tomorrow as well. Voila. Anyways, we'll see you tomorrow at 10:30, Tuesday. Be there with me and CJ. It's going to be so much fun. Trust me. CJ's cooler than I am. Anyways, all right, thank you guys so much for watching again. Happy Monday. Have a great start to your work week. I know it's cloudy out, but enjoy the cooler temperatures. We'll have sunshine definitely coming in later on this later on this work week. That's what I meant to say. Deserves another swig of this. Yes, you have a great rest of your work week. Have a fantastic Monday, and I will see you again tomorrow, Tuesday at 10:30. See ya.